Well, I guess it was a big win for us because the final score was not indicative of the game, as we all know. We got 11, 12-point lead, and we just couldn't build on it, and that's credit to them. Disappointing things the first half when I thought we shot the ball well. I thought we defended pretty well, and every time we got a rebound, Simpson, who is phenomenal at it, knocked balls loose, and I think they got 8 points or something off of our rebound, a 3-point shot, a 3-point play, and a 2. And that was frustrating, disappointed with a couple of my guys on that. But second half, we had that lead, 67, 51, and I think Juwan and I, neither one were happy with some things, and I probably semi-deserved it. I don't think I totally did, but it wasn't for going out of the box. It was for explaining that I didn't like the call, and didn't like the way I explained it. So it was probably justified, and that hurt us. It was a 4-point thing, so that hurt us. But Cassius was unbelievable. I mean, his focus since he's come back, it's not all there yet. My trainer was worried before the game. We still spend a lot of time with him trying to make sure that these big games, big moments when your families are all here, those are times that he struggles, and either you go one of two ways, and thank God he went the one way. And Xavier Tillman is getting better and better and better and better. I think he's improving a lot like Draymond Green did his junior year. He's taking strides, and he's getting more comfortable with the ball. He's being more aggressive, getting to the foul line 14 times. Shooting the 3 a little better. That one was in and out. He would have been 2 for 3. And I thought, those two guys, of course, were very efficient. And then Aaron Henry, we just couldn't, got in foul trouble, and that created some problems. But everybody did something. Gabe hit some shots. I was really happy for Rocket Watts to make a couple shots, get his, he's been working hard at it while we had this break. And I told him at the end, I said, it's kind of funny how things work out when you work on them. But as far as Michigan goes, we wanted to take away their threes, and that's why, a little bit like Purdue that time, give Teskey credit. He went to work on us early in there. Again, I didn't like the way we covered him at times, but we made some adjustments, got a little better in the second half, but we didn't give up the wide open three. I tell Simpson, you gotta love Simpson. He plays so hard. He gets the job done. And Brandon Johns from our area, I thought played very well. So we did a pretty good job on Brooks and David DeJulius, and I think that was one of the difference. Wagner hit one, but we did a decent job on how we had to do to win the game. I just didn't like the way we just kind of got to 11 and we were trading buckets. But we're not the finished product yet. We're kind of half-baked right now, so we're trying to work on our game too.
Tom, to your left over here, one of the best crowds, if not the best ever in Breslin history. I mean, phenomenal. Can you please comment on the crowd?
Yeah, that a couple of times when they really got going, and then we gave up a player, I think they would have raised the roof. Even I was sitting there saying, wow, and that was during the game. Can't thank the people enough. It's been a phenomenal holiday. And then getting our youthful zone back and having them with the energy that maybe the old people had was great. So can't say enough about the crowd. Jared Jackson's mom and dad were here, and even they commented on it after. It was just kind of a fun thing to see and do, and I was appreciative of it.
Tom, can you reflect on legacy for a second? 4-game winning streak against Michigan. What does that mean personally and for the program?
Well, I don't know personally it means anything. I've been beaten 5 in a row. I've won probably more than, it's 4 in a row, the most I've won, I don't know. But it's, the one thing I'm learning about these phones, in this Twitter generation, I don't think anybody cares about what happened years past like you used to. And that's what I reminded my guys of. I want to make sure, because we won 3 last year, we kept the chip on our shoulder. And I thought the Duke game, maybe we didn't keep the chip on our shoulder. So, that's how you grow as the season goes on. You learn from your mistakes and you try to make adjustments to do some things. But, as I said, I've been on both sides of this thing, and I do think that a rivalry's been established 6-7 years ago, where it is a consistent rivalry where both teams are going to compete. I mean, the final score was not even close to the game, I'll give us a 10-point win, not a 20-point win. So the final score is irrelevant in the game. The only good thing about it is it was nice to see Rocket hit some shots, because that's part of the things we're working on, But Juwan has done a good job, done a great job there, and he will do a good job, and we're not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere.
It seems like we're always mentioning Cassius and some of the remarkable things that he's able to do, but watching him today with a national audience looking on, where did you see him, or how did you see him maybe elevate his game in a way that he hasn't done so far this season?
He just looked more aggressive and focused, and in the huddles he was telling guys what to do. I mean, when I say he did a better job defensively, once in a while he got a little tired, but he was even better defensively. And I just felt like, his orchestration in those huddles was something that is a coach's dream. Cash, what do you want to run? What do you think we can run? How do you think they're playing them? And he'd tell X, if you change the angle on this, do that. I think he's proved that, because he was going to get a lot of attention today. And it was one of the greater performances that this building has seen. And I take my hat off to him, I really do. Until tomorrow, back to dog eat dog.
Tom, obviously, Cassius has had, some physical things he's had to get through, but emotionally over the last couple of months, knowing what he's been through, what's it like to see a performance like that from him today?
Well, I saw his mom and dad. They were up in our offices before the game, and it's still hard to ever say, what you want to say. My trainer was really concerned before the game. He said, "I'm working on him. That knee is still something he gets worked on all the time," and I was a little concerned about it. So the neat thing is, I think we're getting better connected as a group to staff. I'll ask Xavier, how's Cash, and so it gives me a moment to maybe call him at night, or check up on him, or say something to him before the game, or bump him in the huddle and walk out with him. And it's really helped me become a better coach. But I don't think any of us will ever be able to appreciate what that kid has gone through and how he's handled it. Heaven forbid if somebody's in the audience has gone through that with a brother, sister, son, daughter, cousin, whatever. It gives you some idea, but I think usually until it happens to you, I can't express that to them. I just can be there to help. But what I constantly watch for every day is, when is it a bad day? When is it a bad day? Because there'll be some bad days. And I told him that him and I got to work through the bad days. The good days, he can just do what he did today. He don't need me.
Tom, all the way to your left in the back, you did say you were worried about him before this game, so I'm sure that's going to be the same sentiment as the season goes on, but how was he able to get through and do what he did today emotionally?
A good thing to ask him, I just know that, you go through Christmas and New Year's, and Christmas and New Year's is about family. Resolutions, goal setting, that's what you do at Christmas, and that's what you do at New Year's, I should say. And that family was always together. And so, you look up in the stands and you just void somebody, and I know he does that a lot. And I think his mother's getting stronger, and that's helped him a lot. But I felt so good for them. I really did, because he did it with efficiency and he did it with class. He's a lot classier. He wouldn't have got a technical, so he's a lot better than I am.
Tom, I know you've talked about it before, the evolution of the rivalry now with Juwan over there. Did you see the passion even ratchet up in Cassius and yourself, and Jawan got a technical foul too. Did you feel like it was even, I don't know, the new chapter started off with not hate, but some feistiness?
Yeah, you know what I told my guys, I talked to them a lot this morning at our pregame meal. We always talk about the game, and I said, it's okay to dislike. It's a rivalry. You know, I say it every year, and thank God nobody asked me this year, so I didn't have to do it, but it's a rivalry. In junior high, my rival was Mariucci. He didn't like me, and I didn't like him. And then we became best friends for life. You know, I got some guys that graduated from Michigan that I coached against that are very good friends of mine right now. I hired a guy from there. But, if there's one thing I'm glad about Jawan, to be very blunt and honest with you, is John was so buttoned up that I look like a fool all the time. Now both of us look like fools, and it makes it an equal opportunity deal. So, I think John might have got one against us over the years, but I don't know if it's ratcheted up any. I think if my wife and his wife coached the team, it'd be a rivalry. That's what happens when you're 60 miles apart. But the one thing I will say for me, I learned after my first 5 losses, you better respect your rivals or it gets the best of you. And, I'm, 2 or 3 and 100 against Duke, but I respect my rival. It doesn't mean I change. I respect what they've done. I've got some really good friends. Bill Martelli's a great friend of mine on their staff in Washington. I've known since he was 5 years old. So I got some good friends on that staff. But you can't like your rival, but you can respect your rival. And I have great respect for them. And I think they have respect for us, and that's what makes a rivalry. Mike and North Carolina and Duke, they ain't hugging and kissing, they ain't going to church on Sundays with each other. But you never hear, it's a rivalry, and it's become one of the best. I think John Beeline, when he was here, said, why can't this be every bit that? And I think it can be, as long as both teams are good. And both teams are good. So I'm just going to keep doing my part. 2 years ago, I lost 2 in a row. Now we won some in a row. That's going to be the highs and lows of the business. If rivalries are good, at the end of the day, I remember seeing a stat on Duke and Carolina. They were over 30 years or 20 years. I think they were like 2 points difference in what scored and who scored, and it's just amazing, And I know one thing: you guys would be happy if it was like that, because it would give you something every day to write about and talk about. But believe it or not, when we weren't any good, the rivalry wasn't that good. When they weren't any good, the rivalry, it's fun to beat them, but it wasn't as fun. When they're both good, it's all good.
Tom, when you see Cassius and Xavier Tillman playing the way that they play and kind of taking over the huddles, what's it like for you and your staff? Do you let them just kind of stay in the zone and kind of run the show and be that player-coach team?
I'm just going to say, in my locker room, in my office, ever since Mateen was here, player-coach team is better than a coach-coach team. And that's not lip service. I believe that. I really do, because players are with each other morning, noon, and night. And coaches, hell, with the NCAA, we're barely lucky if we get 15 hours a week, So we're not with them morning, noon, and night. And I think that's the important thing. And our leadership's getting better. I thought it was null and void a little bit, There's 2 kind of leaderships, one that drags everybody together and one that demand. We're getting the drag together. And halftime I challenged a couple of those guys to demand from a couple of guys to hold them accountable. That'll be the next step of this program that the Cleveses and the Waltons and the Draymonts and the Valentines had. They had people feared them a little bit. Fear sometimes is a good thing, especially in accountability stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna let them do their thing, steal money, and have a good time.
We got time for a couple more, Chris and Larry.
Tom, with
The foul trouble that Thomas got in, you used Julius pretty early in that game and for long stretches. How do you feel he played in comparison to
Not bad,
that?
considering it was his first real extended minutes. He's been on that scout team. It's really helped him a lot, and didn't get as many reps. But what he is he's a little stronger than those other guys. And we're not very big at times. And now Michigan's probably the biggest team we'll play because they're big inside. So is Illinois, but they're big on the perimeter. And I thought that we did a pretty good job. At the end, we were switching five, something new we put in, and it really was okay, So we did some really good things, and we did some bonehead things from the players to the coach, and we'll hopefully learn from there and get better.
Tom, I know you said the team has a long way to go, half-baked, but can you at all appreciate how far they've come after being, disjointed for obvious reasons a month ago or so?
Yeah, a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, I thought we'd be probably where we are now then, and you're right, we were disjointed, we were just battling, and I said then, though, that if you can make it through something like this, sometimes it bonds a team. It was Mike Garland in the locker room, and what did he say that Muhammad Ali always said about, that's a bad man. He said it about Cassius, and everybody erupted. It's like, because Cassius is so unselfish, sometimes superstars, you don't appreciate them because they are selfish. I got the most unselfish superstar, maybe ever. A guy can score that many points and still be as unselfish as he is. So that makes it easier on the coach and easier on the players. They pull for him because they love him and they appreciate him, and not just because he's the best player.
All set, guys? Or Hondo, last one.
Tom, I know it's only 4 games in, but you're 4-0 in the Big Ten, winning by a margin of 14 points. The point is you got to play them. How happy are you 4 games in?
I'm happy. I do realize that, what I got to keep in perspective with these guys, and I warned them about it because I said everybody now will be coming back to school, and everybody will be hugging and kissing everybody, and we won 4 home. We won 3 of the games have been at home. One of them, Northwestern, who I still think that was a good win, especially under the circumstances, but they're at the bottom of our league, so there is a perspective I'm keeping to this whole deal. I'm more worried about, do we keep getting better? Because I think we got a long way to go yet. I think, Marcus, that first half, he might as well just sit here, Teskey, why don't you just throw a layup in or dunk it, Second half, he fought him a little bit more. We have to get better because we're not as physical a team. We all rebounded them decently, but we're not nearly as physical teams that I've had or that I think we have to be to really compete for something. But a couple more weeks and then things start separating. We got a tough game against Minnesota because Minnesota's been playing awfully well. Should have beat Maryland from what I was told out there, and they've had a couple big wins, and they got a great big man. But Xavier, Cassius is special, but don't sleep on Xavier. Xavier has improved a lot, and he's, when he had that bad free throw shooting day, he spent today. Pre-game meal, I come walking back in the hotel, and who's walking into the gym? I said, "What the hell are you doing here this early?" It was like, 2 hours before they're supposed to be here. He said, "I'm gonna shoot some free throws and watch some tape." I said, "Wow, kudos, I think, that's what happens. Unfortunately, winning helps that, but I think there's getting to be a lot more trust between players and coaches. It's something with young guys, it's part of developing. It doesn't just happen. I told you the respect factor now of I'm the head coach, you're a player, that means nothing. I gotta earn mine, they gotta earn theirs. But when you start to do it, the team starts to grow. So, I think Michigan's been playing awfully well, and I think they're gonna be a very good team. They'll get, hopefully their guy back too, and that'll have a factor in it. But you gotta give Brandon Johns credit. He played good at home today, so in his spot, they still got almost the same amount of points. But they're gonna get better too, and they've been, I thought the job we did on Brooks, didn't get many shots up, was